Hi. Yes, I am wearing pajama pants and earrings because I'm wearing my Cowboy Like Me sweatshirt. So I really wanted to wear my cowboy frog earrings. I thought that was very appropriate. Here's the deal. I was going to film the end of the year tag because it's the end of the year. There are 5 days left in the year as I'm filming this. Alas, I was unaware that you're supposed to film the end of the year tag in like October because the questions are very much like that. So instead, we're gonna do the top 21 books of 2021. I have two things that I want to say. One, this doesn't include rereads because I would just be talking about Off of the Game for like 20 minutes at the end of this video. And like, that's not what I'm trying to do right now. There's like two instances where I'm counting a couple books as one book because they're in the same series. You'll see. Number 21. For my 21 best books of the year is going to be Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I love TJR. I love Seven Husbands and Daisy Jones and the Six. They were both in my 5-star videos. This, however, did not get 5 stars. I'm not going to say it disappointed me because it didn't, but it wasn't everything I was expecting it to be. It still got 4 stars. It was still very, very good. Like, I really still enjoyed it, but I wasn't as attached. Like, the reason that the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo got 5 stars was because I was super attached to the story. I loved Evelyn. I love Evelyn and Celia's relationship. Like, these were things that I was attached to. So I got 5 stars. And I gave Daisy Jones and the Six 5 stars because I loved the premise. I love anything that has to do with music and books. This was different for me, but it was still very good. Like, I still really enjoyed it. Obviously, because we're putting it in this video. So, next, number 20. I've talked about this book a few times before, but it's because I actually really do, like, love it. So, it's gonna be Rockonomics by Alan B. Kruger. This is a nonfiction about the music industry. Like I was just saying, like, I'm studying music industry in school, so yes, I tabbed the hell out of this. I annotated it. I literally just turned in a paper on this, like, and I got 100 on it, by the way. A+, baby. I loved this book because I'm passionate about what the book discusses. Like, it wasn't anything necessarily about, like, the writing or anything about that, obviously, but this is a subject that I'm incredibly interested in, and I can see how it could be mind-numbingly boring if you didn't give a fuck about the economics of the industry, but I do, and it's something that I care deeply about. So therefore, I loved this book. Let me just keep talking about music, I guess, because we have 3 Pianos by Andrew Mcmahon. This is Andrew McMahon's memoir. If you don't know who Andrew McMahon is, he's a musician. He currently releases music under the name Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness, but he was also in the band Jack's Mannequin, and before that he was in something corporate. I love his music. I've been an Andrew McMahon fan for a really long time, and this memoir was just, like, absolutely beautiful. It chronicles his childhood. It talks about his dad. It talks about his love of music growing up. It talks about his bands, like forming the bands. It talks about his battle with cancer. It talks about, there's a lot of focus on his love story with his wife. I mean, it's just incredible. Like, I really think that this is a lovely, lovely book, and I'm honestly really glad that Andrew wrote it. Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I didn't love it as much as I expected to. I think that there were a few parts that were just sort of vaguely confusing. I mean, there's like 3 instances of the main character getting absolutely, like, attacked and having to, like, heal, but not, like, actually healing the way she should. Do you know what I mean? It just got a tad repetitive, and it was confusing at certain parts, but I still really liked it. And the thing about this is that I kind of wish, look, like, the sequel's not out yet. There is going to be a sequel because this is going to be I'm not sure if it's going to be a duology or if it's going to be like a series. This is going to be continued if Leigh Bardugo ever fucking writes it. I think that the sequel is going to be amazing. And I kind of wish that we had just gone with the premise of the sequel. If you've read this book, I think you kind of know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it. I feel like we could have just gone with what I think the sequel is going to be, but yeah, I still really enjoyed this. I think I rated it 4.25 stars or something like that. Yeah. Next, we have an arc I read. I don't have the physical copy. And it's I Kissed a Girl by Jeanette Alexander. This is another book that I kind of just liked because it's set on a film set. This is a romance, a sapphic romance between a actress and like a B horror movie, like not like a big high budget horror movie, just like kind of like a shitty one. And the makeup artist on set. And that was very much what I enjoyed about it, was the setting of it, more so than really anything else about the book. But it was still like a really good read. I also devoured it in like 2 days because I literally got the arc like, I don't know, 4 days before it got released. So I needed to read it and write a review of it like very quickly. I just incredibly really enjoy anything in books that are set in the entertainment industry. I love stories like that. So that was the main appeal for me. Autobiography by Christina Lauren. I really, really enjoyed this book. I thought it was very well written. This book is about our main character named Tanner, and he lives in that town in Utah that's super Mormon. He's not Mormon, but he falls in love with a guy who's Mormon, and they start dating, and a lot of it was about like the struggles that are inherent in that, because the guy that Tanner is dating like doesn't want to come out, has a lot of internalized homophobia, but Tanner like wants to be out and like have a boyfriend. There are small things I think I would change about this book to make it a 5-star. I would maybe just make it a little bit less like, I don't know, I don't want to like, because I know that's a very real thing that people go through in fighting internalized homophobia when it comes to religion, but like it's not something that I'm inherently keen on reading about like over and over and over again. There was like a lot of this in this book, and I would maybe just tone it down like a tad for me personally. Also I think this book had like a tiny bit of pacing problems, but overall I really, really did enjoy this book. It was very, very good. I gave it 4.5 stars. Number 15. Oh my god. This was one of the first books I read this year, and this is The Love Interest by Kale Dietrich. When I originally read this, I gave it 5 stars like right after I finished it, but I kind of took it down after that because I really enjoyed the process of reading it. Like I loved reading it, but I didn't like find myself thinking about it a lot after I finished it. But this book, I thought I was gonna like it, but I didn't think it was gonna be good. I really don't know how to explain this book without making me sound like an idiot. But so we have 2 guys in this book. One of them is a nice guy and one of them is like the bad boy, and they were literally both like raised in like a lab to like be these archetype of love interests, and they get sent after the girl in this book to like compete for her love, but not like she's not supposed to know that they're like sent for her. So essentially we get put in a love triangle, and like one of them is gonna win and like be this girl's like mate, and then the other one is they kill the other they kill the other one. Oh my god, this sounds so stupid when I say it, but I swear I really enjoyed it. Like this book was like personal for me. And also this was the first book that I'd read in a while that when we had like the first kiss where it made me like actually have like the butterfly feeling. I think like I was very much like, oh my god, like it was very good. So I really enjoyed the dynamic between our 2 main characters who are the love interests. But this book just kind of take a turn in like the last third of it being like of being just like, what the fuck are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Because it goes from this like YA love triangle story to like almost like a dystopian sort of moment, but I still really enjoyed it. So I finished this when I was quarantining to move into my first semester at school. At the Edge of the Universe by Sean David Hutchinson. I really, really liked this book. I talked about this already in my middle school books video because I did buy this forever ago, but oh my god, it was so good. Like, I don't know what it was necessarily about it. Maybe I just like crave the existentialism element that is in this book, but damn, like, it was very, very good. The only reason I didn't give it 5 stars was, again, I had a small issue with the pacing. I will say I also, like, didn't give a fuck about the love interest in this book. Like, I just didn't really care about the relationship. But I really liked the main character. I really liked his story and his, like, journey or whatever. There's, like, a really interesting phenomenon happening in this book where the universe is shrinking. So people are just, like, forgetting things that exist. And so the premise of this book is that our main character, whose name is Ozzy, his boyfriend just like disappears and no one remembers him because the universe is shrinking. So yeah, very, very, very good. This is another one that is kind of a bit of an out of the box pick, but I really, really loved it. And that is The Chain by Adrienne Mckinsey. This is a mystery thriller, and this is another one that I gave it 5 stars originally and then bumped it down because I wasn't really thinking about it. But it was such, I'm not going to say it was a joy to read because it definitely wasn't, but it was very interesting to read because basically what happens is our main character of this book, her daughter gets kidnapped. And in order to get her daughter back, she has to kidnap someone else's child. Like, that's the only way she can get her kid back. This was really, oh, I really liked it. You're grappling with that, like, oh my god, like, this is my kid and I'll do anything for my kid, but fucking hell, like, I don't want to kidnap someone. I don't want to put another person through this pain. But guess what? You have to. This is super good, and I actually want to give this to my mom for her to read because this is the kind of book that I think that she would want to read. All right, we're getting into 5-star territory here. And when I was building this pile, I knew that this was going to be the bottom of the 5-star pile because I gave it 5 stars in terms of like emotionalness, I guess, emotionality, but it wasn't actually good. And that's Aristotle and Dante dive into the waters of the world. I really, really enjoyed this book. I talked about it in my 5-star video and in my New York college student vlog because that's when I was reading it. I've talked about this in a couple videos already. This was a highly anticipated release for me. Obviously, it's the sequel to Aristotle and Dante, and I love that book. And this was also very enjoyable to read, but it's kind of hard to see how this was necessary, but I still liked it, and I'm glad we got to continue on with the characters, but also, like, I feel like you don't have to read this, you know? But I still really enjoyed it. I tabbed it, actually. I don't know if you can tell because of the ring light. I got a ring light from Santa. So my favorite part about this book was Ari's friendships with Susie and Gina and Cassandra. I read this at a time when I was really missing my friends because I was in New York and my friends were all here. And it was just very comforting to read about Ari's relationship with his friends and also to read about Ari's relationship with his mom. Next, oh, I'm gonna get attacked for this one. But guys, I really liked Rule of Wolves. I really, really did. Like, I don't know. I saw someone say that a reason that people don't like this book is because it's a lot of politics, but I love politics. So I did think it was really interesting. Also, people were like shitting on Nina having like a storyline in here, and I don't really see the point of it, but I still enjoyed it. Like, I love Nina. Nina is my favorite crow. So I had no issue, like, reading about her, and especially reading about her and Han. Like, I really liked their relationship, and I really liked the way it developed in Rule of Wolves. And specifically, I loved Han's story, or Hana. It might be Hana, actually. I really did enjoy this. I loved the ending. I did. Sorry. Also, fucking Kaz making, like, a little appearance in this book. Oh, so good. I was reading this during my first semester at school when I had a roommate, and I would read this for like 2 hours every night, and I would just be like, because this is like, there's so much background to this book, and when you've read like every Grishaverse book like I have, and you're sitting there ingesting this, I feel like it's a really emotional experience. So my poor roommate having to deal with me reading this book, but literally, like, I very much enjoyed it. I actually have 2 copies of this because I was going to just read this one because this is the one I pre-ordered that's signed and personalized for me. But then I didn't want to wait any longer, so I have another, I have like the Barnes & Noble edition of it as well because I didn't want to wait any longer for it. But I spilled chai all over it, so it's kind of fucked up. But yeah, I enjoyed this book. Sue me. Oof. Next we have Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. This book is just so beautiful. Like, when this book is pitched, it's kind of pitched as like our main character Grace goes to Las Vegas and wakes up married to a girl that she literally like doesn't have any like contact information for. And yes, but that's not the main plot of this book, because this book is, I feel like this book is very much about Grace and her having to find like herself, figure out what she wants to do, because this is sort of like a coming of age novel, but our main character is like 24. Grace has just gotten her PhD, but she's not getting hired anywhere. So she's trying to figure out like what she's doing, and at the same time she's navigating this new relationship she has because she's fucking married and she didn't set out to be. I also really like the love interest. This is another element that I loved about this book. Our love interest Yuki hosts a podcast, and it's like a paranormal podcast. It's very fucking cool. Also, like, the writing, oh my god, the writing is so beautiful. This is just a really lovely book, and I highly suggest it. Next, I'm putting these together because they're the same duology, but I liked Ironheart more. Crier's War and Ironheart, absolutely amazing. Sapphic fantasy, enemies to lovers, romance. I don't think that there's another book that has that like trope mix that's better than this. Like, they are so good. It's complex and the characters are amazing, and I need to wipe my nose. What I will say, what I loved about this book, like, honestly, like, what made this book for me was like the side characters. Hook and Aaron. I want like a Hook and Aaron short story or something. Very, like, so good. But yes. Look, did I love these books? Yes. Do I remember any of the nuances about them? No. But they were very good, and I think you should read them. The Book Thief. Damn. I mean, it's like The Book Thief. I feel like I really don't have to go into a lot of detail about it because this is like a literal classic. But damn, just wow. It was... I just loved being able to like observe Liesel and her life. Because you're not really doing anything with Liesel because this is narrated by Death. So you're just kind of like watching with him. It was so good, and it was heartbreaking. In the end, I'm never gonna emotionally recover from the end of this book because it made me cry and cry and cry and cry and cry like a lot. If you have this book on your shelf from like when you were a kid or something, and you keep looking at it and you're like, do I just read it or do I get rid of it or what do I do with it? Like, I think that this is worth the read. Like, I think that you should read it. Let's talk about Vicious and Vengeful now. It's honestly more about Vicious than it is about Vengeful because they're very much two different stories. But, oh, wow. This is very, very good. First of all, we know that I love V.E. Schwab. So I kind of went into this being like, oh, I'm going to really like this. And I did. This is about Victor and Eli. And they both gain these like powers. And it's like a friends to enemies thing. Oh, it's so good. It's so, so good. We follow both of them as they kind of track each other down. And, it culminates in this really amazing like battle, and then the ending, so like it makes you want to immediately read this one. And this one is so good because we're introduced to a new character who is literally just so good. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I don't know what is going to happen in the third book, the yet to be written third book, but I'm really looking forward to it because I would love if we got served a Victor and Eli fucking friends to enemies to lovers. It would be so good. My 6th best book of the year. The Strange Fascinations of Noah Hypnotic. Look, I just love this book so much, all right? Leave me alone. No one has read this book and I think that you should read it because it's very good. We're following our main character Noah, and his life changes in these really minuscule ways and he kind of feels like he's going crazy, so he just focuses very hard on his fascinations and attempts to essentially solve all of the mysteries that he's been wondering about for so much of his life. And it's so fucking good. I love Noah and his friends, and oh my god, just so good. I think that we should read this book, and I think that we should talk about it. More people read this book, okay? Take note. Top 5. We know what I'm gonna say, right? Because I talk about this book all the time. It is not even fucking out yet, but it's so good because it's Love and Other Disasters by Anita Kale. Oh, this book is so good. It's a romance. We follow London and Dahlia, and they are both contestants on a cooking competition reality show, and we follow as their relationship develops. We get to know them individually, we get to know them as a couple, we get to follow them as they pine and as they get together, and oh my god, it's just so good. The cooking competition aspect of it like very much follows like my fascination with the entertainment industry, because it's sort of like they're both contestants, so it's kind of like behind the scenes as well. This comes out in January. Like, it comes out really soon, and I'm gonna be taking my ass to the bookstore and buying a copy of it, and I'm so excited. I want everyone to read this book. Like, it's genuinely so good. It's Heartstopper. These books are just so nice and warm and cozy and fun. I don't really know how to describe them other than that it's just soft and cozy and very much like, oh my god, this is adorable, and it just makes you happy. Like, these are just fun to read, and I love Nick and Charlie, and oh my god, and all of the side characters too. I can't wait for this to come out on Netflix. I'm so excited. These books just make me very happy. I don't know. Happiness in a book. That's really all I can say. They are so sweet, and I really do think that they're worth, like, they're graphic novels. They don't take you a long time to read, but they're so worth it, you know? Like, just so beautiful. All right, guys. Top 3. These are interesting selections. I haven't talked about this book on this channel before because I literally just finished it, like, not that long ago, like 2 or 3 days ago. But this is one of those books that there's so much hype around it. You're like, is this actually even good? And yes, it is. This book is actually that fucking good. Oh my god. Like, this just... Oh, I did cry. This did make me cry. It's so sweet. Oh, I can't. I just like Linus and Arthur and like them is so sweet. And then there's the kids. We have Lucy, who is just an icon and a legend. Chauncey and Lucy. Chauncey and Lucy are my favorites. And this book very much, I think I said this. I have a vlog actually coming out for this book, but I have like 4 more books to read for that particular vlog, so it's going to be a little while. This book and The Song of Achilles are sort of in the same category for me, where they're so hyped up, but they deserve every fraction of it because it was genuinely so fucking good. Like, actually read this. Like, the next time you go to Barnes & Noble and you see it on the buy one, get one table, just pick it up because it's honestly so worth it. Like, so worth it. I did give this 5 stars. Absolutely fantastic. One last stop. What makes this book in particular for me is honestly the side characters, like, Nico and Mila, and then Wes and Isaiah are all so lovely and amazing that I feel like they really, like, is what makes this book, like, something that I can love so much. Obviously the romance between August and Jane too is absolutely fantastic. Like, another sort of like gives you butterflies kind of deal. This book will break your heart and then put it back together just sort of like over and over again because of the like the plot of this book, right? Like, we have Jane who's been displaced from the 70s and is stuck on the queue line. We have August trying to help her get back to like where she belongs, but at the same time is falling in love with her. So then you're kind of in this conundrum of being like, I should help her. We should restore the balance of time, but also I kind of want you to stay here forever so we can be in love. And it's set in New York, and obviously we know that's my favorite place in the world. So yes, this book is very good. I like Red, White, and Royal Blue more, I think, but it's just very good. And I love Wes. Wes is my favorite character in this book. My number 1 favorite book of the year. This is, I'm so sorry. This book is amazing. This book's better than Called on the Hawk, I think. This is Mr. Impossible by Maggie Stifader. It's the 2nd book in the Dreamer trilogy, which is the spin-off of the Raven Cycle. This book hurt so bad. It hurt so bad, but it's so good. And I feel like this is very much like the meat of what the trilogy is gonna be. Like, I'm just, oh, I still think about this book and I still like have moments because of this book. Like, it's so good, but it's like, it's so like, oh, it's just so painful because I'm so attached to Ronan and I'm so attached to Adam. Honestly, at this point, I'm even attached to fucking like Declan and fucking Jordan. Like, oh my god. So good. And unfortunately, Maggie Stifader, I think, might actually be my favorite author because just in terms of like the way she writes, I just love it so much. Yes, this is the worst fucking cover and title in the world. And yeah, it's my top book of 2021. So sue me, all right? And that's it. So far, I've read 58 books in 2021. This is my best reading year so far. My original goal was 30, and I met it in June. This has been such a good year for me in terms of books. I just feel like this is the, like, I've always loved books, but I feel like that this is the year that it's really been reignited for me. Obviously, like, it made me want to start this channel, and I've been having so much fun with it. So thank you so much for coming along with me. I hope you had a great 2021 in terms of reading and just in general. Thank you guys for being here with me and for listening to me talk about books. It means a lot. Tell me your favorite book of the year in the comments because I want to know. Thank you for coming along with me today. Okay, bye. There's a lot of hardcovers in here. It's gonna fall. I'm not a hardcover bitch, but we've only got one paperback. Huh, alright. This ring light is really like burning my eyes. Well, I'm not going to change the lighting now. What the fuck was that?